Pew pew pew. I don't even know what that means, pew pew pew. I got stuff going pew 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 over here. Anyways, what's up YouTube? What up IG? We doing a real quick little unboxing mail haul. This is a thank you. I'd like to thank Michelle Aura. Thank you, baby, for sending me some souvenirs. Thank you for sending me a lovely gift. We're going to open this up here in a second. It says, happy belated B-Day. Happy belated B-Day, Sparks. Yay. I don't know if y'all, I don't know why I'm trying to show the camera on the damn YouTube. I ain't even got my camera on. Ain't that crazy? Anyways, it says happy birthday on there. I think y'all can see that on my Instagram. Happy belated B-Day. That's what's up. Shout out to Michelle Aura. If you following her on Instagram, her name is Dopey something. Dopey, I forget what the numbers are. Some type of Dopey and the numbers. I tagged her in my Instagram post a little while ago. And yeah, so we're going to open up this thing here in a minute. What's going on, grass in class? Scarecrow 420 PA Canify. Shout out to y'all over there. I see you over there in the YouTube chat land. Let me see who's over here on my Insta Grizzle. June G, Nasty Buds, Tres Monkeys Gardens, Miss One Hanifa, all in the building over there. I see y'all. I'm live on Instagram and I'm live on YouTube right now. Let me turn my camera on. I was smoking one of them nasty cigarettes, and I don't like the broadcast of my cigarette smokage. You know what I mean? So I'm waiting on my email to heat up. We're gonna take a couple dabs. Don't forget, man, hustle trees forever. Hustle trees. Shout out to LRG for making badass clothing. Badass clothing. LRG. Anyways, that was not a paid sponsorship. I just like LRG. 3 monkeys. What's that say? Nasty. Nasty. What's nasty? GL in the building. What up, GL? Young Fred. Balls up. What's up, y'all? Look. We live, baby. Anyways, I got my phone hooked up on the IG right here. Thanks for those hearts and those likes on the Instagram. Thanks for those. If you hit the thumbs up button or down or whatever, I don't know what y'all did. Anyways, I hope I'm not showing any information on here that I don't need to be showing. Let's open up this package from Michelle Aura. Shout out to Michelle Aura. Thank you for the belated birthday present. Better late than never. I like to say myself, better late than never. I turned a young almost 40 a couple days ago on the 28th of August. Shout out to all my Virgos, Virgo gang. Once again, thank you, Michelle Aura. GL says, what's good, Mr.SparkzAlot? Man, I'm just chilling, bro. Just got off work. Waiting on some time to pass. I got a dentist appointment today. Finally, I sat down and I broke down. I'm like, I know I hate the dentist, but let's make an appointment. Let's go see what we can do about getting my teethuses clean and maybe getting a new front toothuses. A new front toothuses? Yes, because this shit is getting kind of old to me. It's getting kind of old. Oh, snaps. Is there a birthday card in this bitch, too? What? So, smells like... smells like detergent. Like Tide or something. I don't know. Anyways, we got a package, and we got a package. We got a birthday card, I think. That's what's in here. From Hallmark. What? It's Hallmark, baby. What? Mike always had dreamed of spending his birthday with 2 chicks. Hope you get everything you wish for. Hope you had a great one. Much love and stay lifted, Michelle and Energy. Well, shout out to y'all. I'm not Mike, but I wish that I could have a birthday with 2 chicks. And yeah, Michelle sent me 2 chicks with this dude named Mike. So not only do I get to celebrate my birthday with Mike, I get to celebrate my birthday with 2 chicks. Ain't that some shit, guys? It's crazy.
Because I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.
That shit's loud. Sorry about that loudness, guys. Anyways, yes. I get to celebrate my birthday with 2 chicks and Mike, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where this picture was taken. It's probably Michelle's next door neighbor or some shit. I don't even know. She's like, Mike, hold 2 chicks. Let's make this birthday card. SparkzAlot. So yes, I'm going to hang this up on my wall somewhere in front of me so it will haunt my dreams forever. I get 2 chicks and I get Mike. I'm throwing Mike away. The 2 chicks. I'm keeping one for eggs. We're deep frying the other one. Woo! Because you know how I like my chicken. I'm just playing. Not the wings, though. I'm going to fry the breast. Y'all can have the rest. How about that? Y'all can have the rest. I might keep a thigh. I'm a breast man. I like the breast. I don't know what to tell y'all. Anyways, let's take a dab real quick. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Shout out to everybody on IG. I'm live on both platforms right now. One from my phone, the other from my PC, man. So, it's hard looking at both cameras, trying to make both of y'all happy. I wish I could put my phone on top of my computer where my camera is, so I could just look at one spot and try to make everybody happy. What's up, Candy Wallace in the building? Smack a poke chop fried rice. Uh-oh. Little bro in the building. What up, little bro? I don't know if you're at work, man, but I hope you're having a great day, bro. I only worked 4 hours this morning because I gotta go to the dentist tonight. Well, at 4. So I told him I gotta go early, man. I can't stay here all day. Y'all been slaving the slave out of me. You've been slaving the slave out of me. I'm just playing. I've been working these 12 and 10-hour days trying to get this money up, trying to catch back up on my bills and whatnot. Just happy to have a job, man. Blessed to have a job and be able to maintain, man. Anyways, ooh, I might throw this shit in the freezer for a minute. It's been in my pocket all day. It's still hot. And this just don't want to come up out of here. It wants to be all stick. Anyways, let me get what's off of here. Cheers. Shit, I wasn't ready. I didn't know so much was on there. I thought there was less on there than real bad. I thought less was on there than really was. Woo! Anyways, cheers, guys. Who was that? Mark Diaz, 1970. What's going on, man? If I didn't see you come in my chat room on the IG, I'm sorry. My phone writing is super small. Queen of Hearts LA in the building. Candy Wallace over there. Old school grower. I'm live on 2 spots, guys. So bear with me if I don't say hi to you. I'm sorry. I'm live on the Instagram. Instagram say hi to YouTube. YouTube say hi to Instagram. Okay, that's enough. I don't want y'all. No intermingling of the social media networks, ladies and gentlemen. They might come and get me. So I got 9 people watching in the chat room on my YouTube. I got 6 people watching on my YouTube, my Instagram. I don't know if that's 15 people together. If some of y'all is on Instagram watching me on YouTube. If that's the case, I super love y'all because y'all follow me wherever I go. I'm just playing. Man, this is some rosin. I don't know if it's live rosin or what. But shit. But that shit just woke me up like bam. It was like, dude, wake up. My lungs hurt. Anyways, so I was thinking, I tend to do that from time to time. Not all the time, but I tend to do that from time to time. I was thinking the other day, next year, 2020 is going to be the year of the tubers genetics. That's all I'm growing. I'm not working on any of my strains next year. Everything's going to be straight tuber genetics. So I do have my first genetic lined up already. So 2020, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to grow out 24 different tubers genetics in 1 year. I think I can get it done. I really think I can get it done. I really think I can get it done. 24 different tubers genetics. So if you sent me some genetics, then most likely 2020 is going to be the year that I run it in. I don't know if I have more than 20 people's genetics. I might have. I don't know. I got to sit down and write a list down. But what I want to do is, when I compile this list, I'm going to put it up somewhere, post it somewhere. And via popularity votes, we are going to get those genetics in the garden. We took a vote last week or a couple weeks ago. Oh shit. Hey, Z Void. I think that's Z Void. It's Zex. Is it? I don't even know how to say that. Somebody just subscribed to the channel. Super shout out to you. I'm going to do that shit one more time. Maybe I can read this guy's name this time. I appreciate it. What is that? Z? Is it X? Xed? X Void? I don't even know. It's XED VOID. Thank you for joining the SparkzAlot fam. Welcome to the Sparksies. It's official like a referee with a whistle, man. Anyways, let's get over here and we're going to do that one more time. I'm going to show my IG fam what they're missing out on the YouTube. Okay, so if you go to my YouTube page, go to YouTube and just look for SparkzAlot. Anyways, let me make this screen bigger so you guys can see what happens when you subscribe to my channel. You see that shit? Oh, wait. Wait. I can't do it like that. I gotta make it like half the screen because I gotta do the little notification thing over there. Can you guys see what I'm talking about? Look, see, watch, bam. When somebody subscribes, this shit what happens. Shit like this happens. Bob Marley will pop up smoking some. Hey, did you see Bob Marley pop up? He started smoking a joint. It was like, hey, fatty, smoking a fatty. Anyways, let me get back over here to get my computer straight. Thanks for those hearts, guys and gals. I don't know who's pumping them up out there, but I appreciate it. You guys are scholars and gentlemen, gentlewomen, stoners and stonettes. Shout out to Old School Grower for the recommendation. Yes, shout out Old School Grower, man. Scholar and gentlemen, thanks for hitting that share button. See, what happens is when you guys share, the people that you follow or the people that follow you are notified that you shared, okay? Especially if you share it on YouTube. If you share it on YouTube, the minute you share it, all your subscribers, they can see it from that point. I don't think they get notified. They might, but if they don't, then at least they have the ability to know that, hey, this is who I'm watching right now, guys. Come say hi to SparkzAlot or come say hi to so-and-so. Whoever's live stream or video that you share, that's how that shit works, okay? Sharing is caring. I know a lot of you guys nowadays, you don't understand the mentality. You don't understand the word share until y'all want somebody to give you something or share something with y'all. Like how I share my genetics. You don't want to share the videos, but you want me to share my genetics with you. It's a two-way street. Like you got to work with me here, people. Anyways, for instance, Michelle R. sent me some stuff. She shared with me. I've shared with her in the past, giving her a thank you. I'm going to share her link. So if you're on Instagram right now, I'm talking to you motherfuckers. Yeah, you can go back when this is over. My last post, it has Michelle R's YouTube page on there. Excuse me. It also has her Instagram. I didn't tag her on the initial post, but I did go back. My first comment on that post was her name. So you can go click on that name. Bam, it'll take you straight to Michelle R's Instagram page. I'm sharing her information. She gets new subscribers, new followers, whatever. So if I got 1,500 subs or 2,000 or I don't even know how many subscribers or followers I got, but when I share, all those people get to see who I'm sharing. So if they got more subscribers than me or less subscribers or followers or whatever the case may be, people can link up, man. Sharing is fucking caring, okay? Sharing is caring. Anyways, we're going to open this up. Thanks again for the card, Michelle. I appreciate it very dearly. This thank you on the screen, that's for you, mama. I know you guys can't see because that's over there. Oh, shit. Denise is in the chat room right now, and she just shared something. I don't know if she shared on my IG or if she shared on my somewhere. But I'm going to give her some points in my chat room. Points add. Shit, who is that? Denise. I'm going to give her a cool billion. Yep, you just turned into a billionaire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Damn! You gets no fucking wrenches. Ain't no wrench in here, man. The only wrench in here is right there. The secret garden. The secret garden puts the smack down in my room. We don't need no moderators. Everything is set up on my channel to where I really don't need people to moderate. I do appreciate it. We played the moderator game. People got butthurt about who was moderator and who wasn't. And I mean, I could do like everybody else and just give everybody wrenches, but what's the point in that? Like, then everybody, whether you all have gray coats or all have blue coats, you're still here. You're still having fun. Yeah. Anyways, let me open up Michelle's package. Man, that damn fucked me up. Took my lungs away. Take my breath away. I don't want to poke anything in this package, but she taped the hell out of this thing. I think Michelle used to ship products overseas for the cartel back in the day. Like, look, bro, I'm the best packer in the ever. Ain't no dog's gonna sniff this shit. Ain't nobody gonna smell this shit. Southern Gypsy in the building, to die for genetics. Smack a pork chop fried rice. Mr. Big Red says no. Long time, bro. Hey, I've been on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. You never know where Sparks is gonna show up. I'm finna start getting back on my Facebook. I know a lot of people don't like Facebook. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But for the people that are on Facebook, I'm going to be over there too. I'm everywhere. I got all the social media networks. Anyways, the fabulous, the wonderful, the miraculous, the marvelous, the, what other words can describe Michelle R? Start with an M. Majestic? I don't know. Majestic? Miraculous? Marvelous? Oh shit, you guys can't even see me over here. No wonder why I'm losing viewers on YouTube. They're like, dude, I didn't come to look at a screen. It just says fucking thank you, bro. I want to see you, SparkzAlot. Yes, I'm here. Thank you guys and gals for being here. Thank you for them motherfucking thumbs. I mean them hearts in the chat room. I wish hearts and likes, I wish likes would pop up like that on YouTube so I can see just who is, look, it's crazy. Anyways, no grow. How about Hot Mama? Green Kasiki's in the motherfucking building. What? So, Denise, bam, yes, no, we are all equal. You are all equal in SparkzAlot's eyes, and I'm not God. Never claimed to be. Wouldn't want that responsibility. That's a lot of fucking responsibility. Man. Anyways, let's see what Michelle sent. Michelle sent us some Cinderella 99 crossed with skunk. Looks like about 20-30 seeds. I think there's a hair in there. I might have to send it into the lab to get tested. I'll have Michelle R's DNA, guys. What? Then when I go do a crime, I'll just drop her hair. No, I'm just playing. I wouldn't do that to her. Michelle R is a scholar and a gentlewoman. Part of Team TSG. One of the ladies, her and Energy over there. Y'all can't read that shit. I'm tripping. Anyways, look. Cinderella's skunk 99. We're going to call it Stinky Cindy. Stinky Cindy. I'm just playing. Y'all can't read that either. Let me say about this writing over here. Boom. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to give you guys both equal camera time between my Instagrammers and my YouTubers because I love yous. Cinderella 99 crossed with skunk. You know, I had some Cindy 99 seeds a long time ago. These look like they've been burnt. These are some silly bags. This bag looks like it's been burnt on the bottom a little bit. You know when you burn plastic on the bottom? Burn cellophane? That's what it looks like. This one really looks like it's been burnt on the bottom. Burnt on the bottom. Y'all can't even see. Oh, let me see. Can you see how it's all curved right there? It looks like it got burnt. Can you guys see up here? That damn flare. You see how it's been burnt right there? It looks like it's been burnt. Anyways, whatever. I don't care. We got some baboon crossed with skunk. We can call that Stinky Monkey. Stinky Monkey. I got some of that Stinky Monkey, dog. What you know about that shit right there? You don't know about that Stinky Monkey. We call it Pepe Le Monkey. Because it's skunky, stanky. Pepe Le Monkey. Pepe Le Monkey. I don't even know. These aren't my strains. I can't name them. They're just going to be called Cindy 99 crossed with skunk and baboon crossed with skunk. Because I am not the originator. For that, you would have to ask Michelle R what the names are. Have a good day, chat. Cha. Cha. What is cha? Cha. Cha. Thanks for stopping by, No. I'm not gonna be on here long. I just want to say hi to Michelle R. Say thank you because you are a scholar and gentlewoman. Tell Energy I said hi. You guys and gals out there, scholars and gentlemen. One more dab before we get the hell up out of here. I gotta get my lungs right before I try to take this dab because shit is crazy in the battlefield. Who is that right there? Ellen Bubs mommy. Ellen Bubs, that's what's up. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you hit that follow button. If you're on IG, make sure you smash that follow button. You can also get notified when I post. You can get notified. Instagram is a whole lot more up to par with notifying people about people being on and making posts compared to YouTube's notification system. I can go live and people that's got my bell rung will take a half an hour to get a damn email from YouTube. By the time I'm done with my live, that's when I get the email. Oh, Sparks was live, but he's not no more because we suck at getting notifications out. Sorry, YouTube. I'm just telling it like it is. I love you, the YouTube. I really do. I really, really love you. But it's like a love-hate relationship. It's one of them relationships. It's like, dude, do I have to really put up with this shit? I'm tired of this shit. Come on, Dad. Come over here. See if I can get a little bit more. It was in me pockets and it was so hot that it just melted and now it's stuck to this little gray skull. It's not a gray skull, it's pink skull. Captain Caveman. Grandson. Anyways, I didn't even know this was a damn thing for a minute there. You see that? Look at that shit. Pink skull. I thought this was a fucking toy that got sent in the mail. And it's not a toy. This is not a toy, ladies and gentlemen. Sparks, did you steal your daughter's shirt? Fuck you. Oh, I'm sorry, YouTube. I can cuss on Instagram. YouTube is like fucking Disney's new competition or something. They want you to keep everything all. Dude, this is an adult. They got YouTube Kids and you got the YouTube. But I got to keep the grown folk shit off of you. I could see if I was posting weed reviews and shit on the YouTube Kids app. Yeah, fucking ban me for life. But I'm on the grown folks app doing grown folk shit and they want to ban me. They want to demonetize me. They want to give me strikes and all this. YouTube, hey YouTube. I love you, Instagram. Even though you ain't. I'm not going to talk about these platforms. Nope. Facebook owns Instagram. YouTube owns Google. Wait, Google owns YouTube. Cheers, guys. Boom. I don't need says it's nice to catch another live. Michelle R says I am more than welcome to name the strains. Oh shit. Oh shit. See, that was a whole lot better. I was ready for that when that first one kicked my ass. Does that happen to you guys and gals out there too? That first dab is just like, whoa. Okay, I'm awake. Shit, leave me alone. Let me finish waking up because I'm about to die over here. Captain Cat. No, I didn't steal my daughter's shirt. This is my shirt. Shit. It goes with my motherfucking shoes. What you know about that shit right there, see? Bam! It's almost like they was made together in heaven. Holy matrimony right here. Shoes, socks, and sandals. I got some Velcro stuck to the bottom of my shoe at work. Ain't that some shit? Look at that shit. And somebody's hair. Speaking about hair. See? Velcro on the bottom of my shoes. Velcro on the bottom of my shoes, baby. I had to go to work real quick this morning. We went and set up a booth. It's supposed to have been set up yesterday, but somebody fucked up. So what did they do? They called me in. Sparks, come save us. Please come fix what somebody fucked up yesterday. You know what I asked them when I got there? I said, well, who the fuck messed this up yesterday? And they better not work here no more. Like, y'all keep paying these people to do mediocre-ass jobs. And then when somebody that comes in and knows how to do the job properly, it's almost like, why should I do the job properly when you guys keep paying people to do fucked up half-ass jobs, right? Does that make sense, people? If you go to work and the person that's doing a half-ass job gets paid just as much as you do, and you are like, bam, you're the shiznit, a bag of chips, you're all that in a bag of chips at work, like you are on your shit, you know what you're doing, but then the motherfucker next to you keeps getting paid, like y'all both get paid the same amount of hours. This motherfucker half-ass doing shit gets to come to work all the time. And you and your all that in a bag of chips ass gets to come to work all the time, but half the time you fixing fuck ups from this one. Does that make sense? Oh my gosh. Anyways, yes, I love my job. I very much have problems with some of my coworkers because I made a mistake a long time ago. I asked somebody at work, I'm like, where in the hell did they find you motherfuckers at? Some smart ass was like, the same place they found you. And I was like, no. But it was almost true. Anyways, Cindy99, Baboon crossed with Skunk. Let me see. I got 9 people in the chat room on YouTube. I'm finna shut down Instagram. If you guys aren't on my YouTube channel, get over there and check it out right quick because we finna do a giveaway of some of these genetics. All you gotta do is pay for your shipping. If you can't pay for your, well, I'm gonna tell you like this. If you can't afford shipping, you probably can't afford to grow. Just can't wait to get my arms around you. Every time I hear that song.
What are you, manic depressive or something?
That's pork chop. Smack a pork chop fried rice just came in the building over here on my YouTube. Y'all go check my YouTube out, man. Kids, THC wavy, pork chop. Let me get a shout out to everybody on IG right quick. Then we're gonna finish this giveaway over here. Y'all, okay, so I'm just gonna scroll all the way to the top real quick. One Hanifa, Nasty Buds, Tres Monkeys Gardens, June G, Nasty Buds. I said that already. Shit, go back. Fucker, I don't want to reply. Partly Cloudy, Bro, Mark Diaz, Queen Hearts, Jerry D, Nasty Buds, Southern Gypsy, Queen Hearts, Jerry D, shit, the Green 420. Shout out to the Green 420, man. Scholar and gentlemen. Dash the Bear joined. Dash the Bear. Dabs the Bear. The Green. Queen Hearts. To Die For Genetics. Mr. Big Red Dog 420. Mr. Big Red Dog 420. Shit, why do I keep replying? I don't want to reply. I just want to say shout outs to everybody. Grow Big 420. Trees number 2. Number 2, not number 1. International Greens 101 joined. Shout out to everybody. I'm still alive. Everybody left this motherfucker. I'm giving shout outs. OBS General. Ain't nobody even over here. Come on, let's go back. Did I miss anybody? And kids. I want my motherfucking low.
From the queen of the castle, get down, you dirty rascal, get down.
Ain't nobody even on here no more. Everybody left. Anyways, y'all be good. I'm gonna do this giveaway. See, I say giveaway on the thing, and everybody comes back. Oh shit, he's gonna do a giveaway. I'm just playing. Peace, y'all. In live video. 22 viewers. Shout out to the Instagram folks. Y'all just got, yeah, go ahead and put it on my story. Shit, damn. That's a lot of booty right there, boy. Look at that booty. That booty. That big old booty. What you got some? Your ass got the mumps. Just, whoa. That's a lot of booty. You know what? I'm not trying to be funny, ladies, but if your ass is that damn big, you gotta find a big old horse schlong ass dude. The average man is not gonna be able to hit that from the back because he ain't gonna reach the hole. He trying to get through all that ass to get. I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lot. My heart started racing when I seen all that ass. I'm like, what you gotta attack that with a ruler? Just let me get in there. That's craziness. It's craziness. Anyway, Leilani's kitchen. Now I can focus on my chat room over here yonder way. Once again, thank you, Michelle R. In the background. I blew a smoke signal cloud just for you. It says thank you. Anyways, let me make my camera a little bit bigger. Stretch it out. Stretch that shit out, man. Now I look wide. I look wide as that lady ass did. Wide old booty. Okay, now let me take this thank you out the background. We're just gonna do the black background. bam, for a little while. So, what up, though? What up, elote kids? I need 3 more, bro. 3 más elotes, por favor. Andale rapido way. Rapido way. Right now. Anyways, Denise in the building. Kids, 420, Leilani, Pork Chop. Queen dies in the motherfucking house. Who else is over here on my YouTubes? On my YouTubes, GL. Leilani's Kitchen. Michelle R. Foreign NASCAR was in the motherfucking building. Otto Neves was in the house. I don't know if you guys are still in here or not. You know what? The No Grow came in as well. Green Kasiki came in as well. Michelle R. Streamlabs. Let me see if I see anybody else's name up here. The Green 420 came over here too. Zext Void. Maybe like that's sex, like a code. Is that like slang for sex void? Like, are you a virgin? I don't even know. It doesn't matter, to be honest with you. Thank you for being here. The No Grass in Class. Michael Jordan was in this motherfucker. He didn't bring me no shoes, man. Candy Wallace was in the building as well. Young Fred Balls Up. Scarecrow 420 and PA Caniflies came in and said afternoon earlier. Let's go. Let's get it. So, Punchy Loke. What up, man? All right. Everybody except Michelle R, because Michelle R is the one that gave these to me. Everybody's eligible for the giveaway. Remember, you must take care of your own shipping. If you live in Africa and you want to join the giveaway, you're going to have to pay for your package to get to Africa. If you live in Canada, if you live in Europe, I don't care where you live. I mean, I do care where you live. I hope that wherever you are, you're happy and you're prosperous and you're blessed. But it doesn't matter to me where you live at when it comes to the giveaways. As long as you take care of your shipping, you can enter the giveaway. Comprende? Comprende. So, Queen Die, Kids, Crash 420. Boom! I want to crash into some 420. That would be fucking awesome. Just get a big ass bag. No, you'd have to have like a shit ton of weed. A shit ton. Enough weed that, like, when you just, if you ran into it, you got stuck, and you had to smoke your way out. Bro, I'll be out in a minute. I'm fucking fine. The air strange clouds. The airbag's released, bro. I'm good. I'm just gonna smoke my way out of here. Maybe fucking order me a pizza or something, bro. So when I get out, I'll be fresh. Anyways. Damn you, dabs. That shit was delicious. I should really find out what kind of rosin this was. I mean, this is because it's amazing. Shout out to Permanently High, man. This is some Sensei crossed with Critical Bass. Rosin Nug Run. Oh my gosh, this shit is amazing. I haven't hit this that many times. I'm trying to savor it because it was a gift from a buddy. And you know, guys, when you get those gifts, sometimes you want to make them last forever. Make them last forever. Security. So, once again, please hit that share button down there. I don't know where the fuck it's down there somewhere. Hit that share button. Yeah, hit it. Hit it. If you want me to share some of the genetics that Michelle R shared with me, with you, hit that fucking share button, okay? Please. Hit the fucking share button. Just playing. Hit that thumbs up or down. I don't even care. Somebody's been hitting the thumbs down button faithfully. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I almost feel bad when my video don't get that one thumbs down. It's like, oh, well, my thumbs down person did not make it today. Fuck. I want the thumbs down person to come. It's amusing. Anyways. Let's do this giveaway. Let's see how we're gonna do the giveaway. I don't even know. I don't know. Let me see. I can do it. What the fuck is this? Oh, that's that. That's one of those. That. Okay, so boom, a 5-pack of Pepe. Oh, Pepe. That was the last giveaway I did. So, can I reset this? We're going to reset this. Reset. Do you want a refund? Nope, because somebody already won. Yeah. Are you want to clear all users and messages? Yep. So this is going to be, I don't even know how many are in here. Oh, I think I can do a 5-pack of each. Should I do 2 giveaways or 1 giveaway? In the chat room, you guys let me know. Should we do 1 giveaway or 2 giveaways? 1 giveaway at each strain, or wait, 2 giveaways with 1 giveaway of each strain, or 1 giveaway with both strains? You guys let me know in the chat room. What should we do? What should we do before I get ready to... I had to leave for class in 10 minutes. What's that mean? $2? Lost my $2? I like when my thumbs down person uses both their accounts when they only use one. I know they're too busy. Man. Just both their accounts? It's crazy. I don't understand how people have the audacity to just come and hate on motherfuckers like that. I'm like, sometimes I go in a live, person got 15, 20 thumbs down in the live. I'm like, damn. How you get that many thumbs down in the live? Like, who does not like you? Shout out to all the people scrolling down at the bottom down there, man. They are some of the people that help this show keep on trucking. Those are some of the people that have helped just throughout the show, man, with shipping, handling, and other things of that nature. Some of our giveaway prizes. We're currently trying to get a computer together. I'm going to build a computer, have one built for the show, so I don't have any streaming issues in the future, so I can utilize more programs to make the stream that much better, etc., etc., etc. Anyways, yeah, shout out to those guys and gals down there. Shout out to Brett. What is that? Brett Glasso. Brett Glasow. I don't even know how to say that last name. I'm just going to call him Brett G. Shout out to Brett G up there. The Stream King. He's got all about 17,800 points left. So the more subscribers and or donations that we get, the lower that number goes until somebody else is the Stream King. Partly sent my 50 but kept 20. I'm so lost. I'm so lost. Let me get in on this heist in the chat room so I can get my money up, because I need my money up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bam. Anyways, 13 people in the chat room. What up, y'all? Appreciate y'all stopping by. I want to take another dab, but I don't, because I feel like I'm going to pass out. I just got hella sleepy all of a sudden. I don't know why, because if I was still at work, I'd be running circles around all those people that half-ass do shit. Anyways, heist 1.5. Oh my gosh. Pork Chop's always in the fucking chat room doing dingy shit. I don't know why. Let's get over here and go see Pork Chop. We're going to go see Pork Chop real quick. Where the hell is Pork Chop? Pork Chop says hi, guys. Hey, it's a Pork Chop. Anyways. Yeah, Pork Chop just said hey to all of y'all in the chat room at once. Bam! Queen Dot came out with $8. That's what's up, $8. $8. Okay, so did you guys in the chat room say, should we do 1 giveaway or 2? Old School says 2 separate giveaways. That's like the only person I seen say anything. I low-key just want to give Old School a fucking 5-pack for responding to my question. Like, god damn. Can you guys not hear me? Is this motherfucking thing not on? Is my microphone, bro? Do you guys comprende? Hablamos inglés? Kid says do 5 giveaways. Something wrong with you, bro. Something is wrong with your ass. Something is wrong with you. Kid says 420. Partly says 3 giveaways. 3 giveaways? Okay, I'm going to do 1 of each strain and we're going to get your ass away partly. We're going to get partly away. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're giving Partly Cloudy 420 away on the SparkzAlot show. What y'all know about that shit? Hey, it's Partly Cloudy. Okay, so we're going to do 2 different giveaways. Evidently, yeah, we got 2 votes for 2 different giveaways now. So 1 giveaway is going to be a Streamlabs. Yeah, it's going to be a Streamlabs, not Streamlabs. OBS, Streamlabs, whatever the fuck, giveaway. In the chat room, we're going to do one of those where you use some of your credits to make entries. And then we're going to do a Nightbot number generator giveaway. I'm actually going to do the Nightbot one first just so we can get that shit over with. I'm trying. This was supposed to be a quick live. Was supposed to be, but you guys know I can't get on here without doing some shits, doing some stuff. Can we do a return? I don't know. Return for what? What kind of return do you want? Can we do a return? Hopefully you do a return. Hopefully your harvest will be bountiful and it will be a plentiful return. I don't know what to tell you. Water sparks a lot. Why you give me a water, dude? I don't need no damn water. What's wrong with you, bruh? I got coffee right here. Fucker. Dude, will you sign in, Nightbot? What are you doing, bro? Taking forever in the yesterday. I got 5 on Cloudies. Oh shit, they're trying to auction you off in the chat room. Can I get 6? Anybody got 6 for partly cloudy? Anybody? Can I get a 7? Can I get an 8? Can I get a 10? We got 5. Leyline has got 5. Is there anybody higher? Anybody? 5 going once? 5 going twice? 5 going 2.5? Sold to Leyline's Kitchen for $5. Partly. Damn, old school grower says I got -5. He wants to put you on his credit card. He's like, I ain't even got cash for this dude. I put it on my credit card though. Can I get that credit card money? Anyways, if you're in the chat room, excuse me, this giveaway finna start right now. If you're not typing, then you're not gonna be able to enter the fucking giveaway because whatever. We're gonna do a number generator giveaway. I mean a random number. 13 people in here. We're gonna put 0 to 260. 260. Hopefully this will be short. Bam. Let me write this number down off the screen for somebody to get it real quick. Bam. So I got the number written down. The number thing picked over there. 0 to 260. This is gonna be for the baboon crossed with skunk. Right here. As a matter of fact, you know what? Y'all can you can pick whatever. The first winner gets to pick which strain they want, whether it's the baboon crossed with the skunk or the Cindy 99, the C99, Cindy 99, Cinderella 99. Yes, crossed with the skunk. So the winner of the random number giveaway gets to pick their pick. And the second pack goes to the second giveaway winner. I don't even know what to tell you. But yeah. Queen Dice is 122. 37.5 is not it. 100 is not it. 225 is not it. Leilani is not it. Gia. You know what? I'm mad at some of y'all. I'm not going to call out no names. But if y'all ain't been typing in the last 5 minutes, but you in here fucking doing giveaways, typing all types of numbers and shit. Oh, you're doing a giveaway. Type fucking numbers. Can't say hi. Can't tell us how your day was. Can't tell us what you're smoking on. Fuck you. I'm just playing. I'm serious though. That shit be pissing me off. Motherfuckers be sitting back lurking and I say giveaway and everybody, whoo, it's 100 numbers in this. Y'all should feel bad about yourself. I ain't even gonna call. I'm not gonna call nobody out. Mentally, subliminally, like this. If you think I'm talking about you, I'm probably talking about your ass. How about that? How about that? You know what? I think I'm going to cut my camera off right now because some people, I'm just playing, but I'm serious. Some people, put this on right here. I just want to full screen that shit. Can I full screen that shit? Properties. Full screen that shit. Not properties. Oh man, did I just make it disappear? But I just made the chat bot disappear. Let's go back. Some people got to have it. Oh. Let's make that full screen. Fit the screen, baby. Stretch the screen. Bam. There goes the chatty chat room. 105 is not the answer. 1320 is too damn high. It's 0 to 260. Partly cloudy 420. Looks like Partly Cloudy 420 has won the giveaway. Congratulations, sir. Why the minute I fired my cigarette and cut my fucking camera off, you goddamn win. Now I gotta turn my I ain't gotta turn my camera back on. I'm still here. Anyways, Partly Cloudy 420, sir. What did I do with the pen that I just had to write this number down? There it is. Boom. Partly Cloudy is the winner. PC Cuatro 20 Pacific Coast highway. The number was 210, ladies and gentlemen. My chat room just seems to be stuck on pork chop. Either that or everybody's in timeout. Shout out to Alex Bet, Chef Life, Chosen One, GL, Kids 420, Leilani's Kitchen, Old School Roar, Partly Clyde 420, Queen Dash, Smack Pork Chop, and Young Fred. Super shout out to the ladies in the chat room. I'm sure all the gentlemen and crazy guys in the chat room appreciate you being here. Makes it feel that much more close to reality. Because if there was just a bunch of guys in here, I'd be kind of scratching my head like, wait, what? Wait, what? Yes, the number was 210, partly cloudy 1. Partly cloudy 1. Now, sir, if you could tell me in the chat room which strain you want. Would you like the Baboon crossed with skunk or the Cindy 99 crossed with skunk? Sir and sir. I cut a deal with who? What? Shit. I'm cutting no deal. How am I cut a deal with somebody? Who said that shit, kids? Put your ass in time out for a minute, mother. You better stop trying to undermine me, sir. I recommend you hush. Old School Girl says, congrats, partly cloudy. Congrats. Grazie. Gromies, motherfucking homies is in the building. So we went from 13 to 18. We gained 5. At least I think. I don't even know. My chat room's kind of slow behind over here. This is why I want to upgrade my computer. We're going to build a show computer, a computer for the show. I'm going to get this computer. Excuse me. Give this computer to my daughter so she can do more research on her homework and shit. Because she comes in here, Dad, can I use the computer? Yeah, you can, but I don't like her being in my room. It's like, Daddy's got all types of shit laying around here. I don't know me in her. We'll put the computer in the living room or in her room. No, we're going to put it in the living room because I could only imagine what the fuck she'd be doing on this computer in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping. Anyway, Chosen One says, I need to get a computer. That's why I never go live. Mr.SparkzAlot. I don't want to hear that shit, boy. You got a phone. You can go live on your phone. Bada boom, bada bing. Chosen One. Cut that out, man. I have to get to class. Much love. All Partly Cloudy. Okay, so Partly Cloudy gave his gift to Leilani's Kitchen, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read that somewhere up there. Let's see. I give my win to Leilani. He says right here, you guys see it? You guys see it? You guys see it? So Leilani, sweetheart, darling, I just can't wait to get my arms around you. Feel your whole touch. Yeah, no, I'm not Sparks. Sparks is doing a giveaway on the 2 M&M he had. You slow, bro. I had 3. I know you can't count, man. That's why you be ringing me up for 2 elotes when I ask for 3, bro, because you can't count straight, man. I'm glad you can count the 3 elotes, even though you only charge me $2. I've been getting over on you for years, man. Pick for you. You know what? You're doing a little bit too much. All I want to know is, who's paying for the shipping, guys? Party's like, I don't want to pay for the shipping, bro. I'm going to get to Leilani. Leilani, you going to pay for the shipping? Partly Cloudy. Wait, Leilani, if you accept them seeds, we through. That's fucked up. Porkchop said he's divorcing you if you take some seeds. Goliath Grower is in the house. What up, Goliath? I had to say hi real quick. It's a pink shirt day, bro. This shit ain't even pink. It's more like a, I don't even know what fucking color it is. It's not fucking pink, though. I know that damn much. And even if it was, I don't fucking care. Because I wear any motherfucking color I want. Any color. Yellow, red, black, green. I don't give a fuck. I like dark colors, though. I think they complement my tone. But I can wear any fucking thing. I don't care. Rockets. Whatever. Anyways, cannabis connoisseurs plan their strategy to take down demand. Demand send everybody to Alcatraz. Hey. So, Partly went to class. Leilani's in the chat room. I don't even know what's going on. Let's do this other giveaway. Then I'm going to get the heck up out of here because I got stuff to do today. Where's the giveaway thing at? Giveaway. Bam. So, let's turn my camera back off. Boom, boom. I don't know which one Leilani said she wanted. I'm about to flip a coin, flip a pack. This other pack is, I'm just going to put Michelle. You get a 5-pack of Michelle. I'm just playing. You don't get a 5-pack of Michelle. But that's the name of the prize because it's her genetics. So, for this next giveaway, you're going to have to use your credits in the chat room. I don't want to hear nothing about you ain't got no credits. If you ain't got no credits, you should be here a little bit more often and gain your credits. Anyways, each ticket costs 1,000 credits. You can bet up to 1,000 tickets. Okay? So that'll be 1,000,000 of your credits if you max out at the 1,000 bets. All right? All right. We're going to keep this open for 3 minutes. Use timer. 3 minutes. That'll give everybody plenty amount of time to get your bet. Yeah. Get your tickets in. Bam. Open up the giveaway. So, in the chat room, if you would like to enter the Michelle R Genetics giveaway, which will be for either some Cinderella 99 or some Baboon crossed with Skunk. In the chat room, if you want to enter, type in hashtag I want in, followed by a space and the number of entries you want. You can enter up to 1,000 times. Just like Pork Chop did right there. Hashtag I want in, space, and the number of entries. He said 999 times he wants in. Chosen says I want in 1,000. Chosen one has entered the giveaway. Leilani, you better choose your strain, because if not, you're going to get seconds. And nobody wants seconds. How much is shipping? Leilani, if you're in the States, oh, I need your address. It's probably going to be in between $3.50 to, I think the highest postage I paid in the States is like $4. So in between $3.50 and $4. Either or. I just need, well, I think I might have your address already. If not, I just need your address so I can calculate the postage. That's in the States. If you're outside of the States, it gets a little bit more pricey because the post office likes to tax that ass. I know to Canada it's like $10, and then going overseas to like Europe and shit, it's like $15. It gets high. I mean, that's not necessarily high, but if you're doing, if I send 2 packages overseas, that's $30 for 2 packages. It takes away from the budget a lot. That's why we started having people just pay for their packages, so the donations can go more to the show and improving the show, because we were spending a lot of money on shipping. Sometimes it'd be more than we were getting in donations, and it was dipping into my pocket. And I got kids to feed and shit, so I love y'all, but I want y'all to love yourself too. Boom, Queen Di has entered the giveaway. Grow Me's Homies has entered the giveaway. Let's go over here and see who all has entered the giveaway. So far, Pork Chop, Chosen, Goliath Grower says, I just gonna enter one time because that's all it takes to win, baby, is one fucking ticket. He said the rest of you guys is jokers, throwing your fucking money around like we at the strip club. Anyways, Kids 420, Mr. Elote himself, PA Counterflies, Queen Di, and Grow Me's Homies all entered the giveaway. Is the time up? Brooklyn Zip. Goliath, email me your info. Same name as my Gmail. Gmail. Brooklyn, where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? So, okay, so time's up. Where's the strippers? I don't have any strippers, but there goes Pork Chop. And he is bottomless. And shirtless, for that damn matter. What the fuck was wrong with cartoons back in the day? Showing us half-nude fucking cartoons. Porky Pig walked around like this for a long fucking time. Pork Chop, nasty motherfucker. Put some goddamn Danuns on or something, dude. Anyways, bye, Pork Chop. I don't have any strippers, but Wilma works for tips. She said that if you donate, she'll twerk it for you. She will twerk for donations. Twerk, Twerk. Twerk. I'm just playing. And we have Nikki. Where the hell is Nikki at? I can't find Nikki. There goes Nikki. Well, you can't see Nikki because the chat bot's on. There goes Nikki. Look at that jiggle, boy. Woo! Anyways, there goes Nikki. And for the ladies, bam! I know it's not your fucking birthday, but there goes some random dude busting open his fucking shirt for you guys. I mean, for you ladies. Not for you guys. Unless you like that. I don't fucking know. It really don't matter to me. So, we got the dude for the people that likes dudes. And we got that big old booty for the people that like big old booty. Look at the heart shape, bro. It just look like a heart. Look like she got a heart behind her. And this guy looks like was chiseled out of stone or some shit. I don't know. Anyways, that's enough of those shenanigans. Let's get over here and do this damn giveaway, pick this giveaway winner, because we are coming up on the hour mark, and I did not want to be on here this damn long. So, let's, shit, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the chat box. Bam. So we can get over here and go to L giveaway. Bam. Boom, boom. We're going to pick a winner, chicken dinner. Once again, shout out to Pork Chop, Chosen One, Goliath, Kids, PA, Queen Die, and Gromies, Homies. Let's see who's going to win. We're going to pick a winner, chicken dinner in the chat room, and it's going to be, we don't even know, Kids 420. Mr.SparkzAlot himself, man. Congratulations. Sparks, what you got, guys, stripping on your PC, bruh. Hey, yo, Pork Chop. I'm gonna tell you something, man. There's ladies in here, okay? And I can't be sexist and always just show half-naked bitches. I mean, females. Sorry. I can't show half-naked women on here without showing the ladies a little something. And if you think or feel some type of way, okay, Pork Chop? In transmission. That's why, mother sucker. Kids, 420. Did Leilani pick? Okay, Leilani, it's time. You have to pick which strain you want. Or Kids 420 is going to get the pick. And then you're going to get the sloppy seconds. So, I would rather you pick and Kids 420 get the sloppy seconds. Because he can't count. I'm just playing. Kids can count. He can count all his kids. It's like 18 of them motherfuckers running around. 5 of them is on a basketball team. They is the whole basketball team. If one of his kids gets sick, then the whole basketball squad's got to forfeit the game because all of his kids are sick. Man, that's a lot of Benadryl and a lot of cough drops and syrups and what all that other stuff. Anyways, yes, Kids has like 20 million kids. Don't tell no goddamn buddy. What? Yet first, none of my entries went in. What? Old school? Let's go back up. See if old school grower. Old school grower. Because old school, I'm going to tell you why your thing didn't go in. Because you put a damn exclamation mark right there. Not an exclamation mark, it was an actual I. You had to put hashtag I want in. Like, see, you did it 2-3 times. That's why I didn't go in there. I'm so sorry that nobody said something to you about this shit in the chat room. Why y'all didn't tell old school? You know he old. It's in his fucking name. Old school grower. He's old. Sometimes in the chat room, see, this is why we don't have any moderators. Because moderators, the people that want wrenches and shit, they don't even help nobody else out. Let's get back to the sharing. See, when you share your knowledge, somebody in there should have told old school grower, look, old man, you're doing the shit wrong. You just got to put hashtag in there. I'm just playing. Old school, I'm sorry that it was user error. But, yes. Next time, guy. Next time. Now you know, and knowing is half the battle, like G.I. Joe said many, many moons ago. So, let's go down here. Somebody said something about having a dollar on Nikki. I don't know who the hell that was, but I need to find out what Leilani. I put the I on one of them. Oh, shit. Well, the two that I saw, let me see. See, I see this one right here, old school. If these folks would stop typing in the damn chat room. There goes exclamation mark. And then let's go back up. Oh, that one does say it. I want in 1,000. Well, goddamn it, old school grower. I'm sorry, bro, that didn't go in there. Wait, no, wait. That was after. You see, let's scroll back up. It says entries have stopped for the giveaway. You can no longer enter. So you did it correct, but it was after. Unless we can find another one up here. Let's see if. Holy shit, the whole screen turned blue. Let's see if I can find another old school. See, this one was before, but you did it wrong. I don't see another one. Is there another one? Is there another one? Yeah, old school. I think you did it correctly, but after the timer stopped. I'm sorry. That's one thing about my lives. You got to be snazzy and quick with it because we do shit around here spontaneously. Just spur of the moment, like ludicrous. Spontaneous. Spur of the moment. We do it. Do it. Anyways, we just hit the hour mark. And I'm waiting on Leilani to tell me which strain she wants so I can give kids the sloppy seconds. So, once again, I'm sorry if you said something already. Your choices are, Miss Leilani, you can either have baboon cross with skunk. We're going to call that shit stinky monkey. I'm just playing. It's not my strain. If it was my strain, that's what I would call it. Stinky fucking monkey. But I haven't even grown it out to know if it stinks yet. So, I don't know. Another one is Cinderella 99. We can call that shit Stinky Stepsisters because Cinderella had the stepsisters. I don't even fucking know. 101 Dalmatians? No, it's 99. Stinky Dirty Gym Socks? I don't fucking know. Cinderella used to do all types of chores. Stinky chores? Stinky glass slipper? Stinky something. It's got skunk in it. Anyways, for real. I'm waiting on Leilani. And as soon as Leilani tells us what she's going to do, then we'll give kids stinky toes. Fuck. Woo! You going to talk about some toes, huh? Pork chop. I double dog, triple dog dare you to take a picture of your right big toe and put it on Instagram. You ain't gangsta enough, bro. I'm proud of my feet. I guess everybody was talking about my nails like I can't cut them motherfuckers. Oh, cut your nails, guy. Dude, you come cut these motherfuckers. When you work as much as I do, I don't give a fuck about no toenails. Nope, I don't care. They break off. I'm just playing. I done fucked up some shoes having long toenails, though. At work, I go to kick some carpet, and that shit toenail come right through the fucking front of the Nike Air Maxes and shit. As a matter of fact, where the hell is my Air Maxes at? I wanted to write Nike about this fucking default in their goddamn shoe. Like, you can't put triple stitching in the front of that damn toe? I'm just playing. SparkzAlot is crazy. Pork chop loves my feet. Whatever. He says done. Come on. Let me check this shit out. See, somebody else was supposed to be doing they shit like that, and they went and got a whole nother other damn They took a picture of somebody else's feet. This nigga gonna watch. Pork chop gonna repost my picture. That's what he gonna do. He gonna put a picture of his big toe. Pork chop, you ain't post no goddamn picture. And how you got so many followers, bruh? How you got more followers than me, Pork chop? That's fucked up, man. Now I feel like I'm really slacking. I gotta get motivated. Pork chop, this is your last post about people worshiping cows over in India and shit. What's wrong with you, man? Such a naughty post, man. You're crazy. Anyways, now shout out to you, Pork chop. And your 3,000 fucking followers. Wait, who is that? Golly. I know why you took this picture, guy. You ain't even hardly even got been in the picture. I know why you took this picture, guy. I know why you took. This is why you took that picture, not this guy. By the way, happy belated birthday, Ben, who's halfway in and out the fucking picture. This is why you took this picture. He's like, fuck little dude right here. I don't even know who that is, but we're gonna post. You see? This is why I gotta have dudes for the chicks. Anyways, still no big toe picture, pork chop. I know you didn't have the huevos, man. It's all good though. Let's take one more dab. Leilani says, I can't hear him in the store with music. Someone tell how much he said shipping was. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Leilani, did she pick cancel direct TV due to Watson Sparks? Canceled the newspaper, but I still got what? Canceled direct TV due to Watson Sparks. Canceled the newspaper, but I still got the pizza guy. You gonna cancel the pizza guy? Please don't cancel the pizza guy because then you won't have pizza. And you need pizza. Pizza is life. One more dab. Leilani says I picked the first one. The baboon, stinky monkey. You want stinky monkey? Stinky monkey. Streamlabs. Bam. Patreon. Bam. Cash App. I think it's Cash App. It might just be cash. 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 10, 12. Anyways. Yes. So, in the US, shipping is around $3.50. So you can send $3.50 or $4.20 or $5, whatever. I don't, it don't matter. That's the shipping. I do pay for the envelope and the tape and the whatever the fuck else. That comes out of the show budget. But in the US, shipping is $3.50. Bam! I tagged you. Whatever, dude. You lying. You picked somebody else's feet. You probably went and found the grossest toes in the world you can find. That's not what I did. I took a picture of my foot on some spontaneous shit. My big toe. By the way, which is for sale. My big toe is for sale for $20K. If any of you guys ever need a big toe, due to a fishing accident or a hunting accident or whatever, you can get mine for $20K, man. My right big toe. Alright? It comes with a free tan for life. You know what? I don't know if this is funny or not, but me and my bosses, I thought it was funny. He thought it was funny. There was a lot of women on a gang of women. I forget the name of the show that I was doing. It's some type of cosmetic beauty, whatever show, some type of show. Anyway, a lot of females there. I'm talking about oodles and oodles of females. And it trips me out, ironically enough, how many people out there go to tanning salons and tanning beds to get their skin darker but won't date a person of color. I don't know, I just think it's funny. Like, you'll go darken your skin, but you won't date a brother or a Hispanic person or anybody with just a dark person at all. It's crazy. You guys think that's crazy? How many people in the chat room think that's crazy? Do you think it's crazy that Caucasian women will go tan their skin, put little hearts and dolphins and shit all in the stickers and whatever, but won't date a brother or a Hispanic man or a Indian man or anybody of any type of color? Is that weird or what? I don't even know. Let's take a dab. Okay, so Leilani said she wanted the baboon, which means Kids gets the Cindy 99. So Leilani's kitchen. Leilani's kitchen. Well, if you do a donation on Streamlabs, then all that shit pops up or whatever, and then your name will stay down there until you get kicked out of rotation. If you do it on Cash App, I usually give you a shout out or whatever. If you do it on Patreon and Streamlab donations pop up on the screen. Cash App is more like some low-key shit, like if you don't want everybody knowing that you made a donation. There are some people like that. They're more on the hush-hush. They just don't want to be, not necessarily recognized, they just don't want to be out there like that. You know what I mean? So it really doesn't matter. It all goes to the same place at the end of the day. Queen Dot says, I get Botox in my wanker. It has duck lips. Wow. I didn't know the gynecologist could do that, bro. It's fucking crazy. Pork Chop sees the gynecologist monthly. I'm not gonna tell you why, but I will tell you he sees the gyno on a regular, monthly. Pork Chop sees the gynecologist on a monthly basis, baby. One more dab and then we outro. Let me write this shit down because I was talking about it. So Leilani wants the baboon. I was trying to figure out how to spell her name properly because I know a few Leilanis. This is Leilani, Leilani's Kitchen. She wanted the baboon, which is a wonderful strain crossed with the skunk. And Kids Cuatro Veinte gets the Cindy 99 crossed with the skunk. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this giveaway has been brought to you by the fabulous, the fearless, the wonderful Michelle Aura. If you guys are not following her on Instagram, go check out my IG. Get her get her page off of my post, my last post. It's got her YouTube page on there. And if you're not following her on YouTube, I don't think she puts out videos, but she is an active cannabis community member. She's always around. So if you subscribe to her, maybe when she hits 1,000 subscribers or some shit, she'll do a video or something. I got a bail. Old School Girl says, cheers, Sparks and everyone. We getting ready to go. Old School, I appreciate you being here. We're finna do this dab. Then I got stuff to do. I got work to do. Damn, it's 2:30 already? Yeah, I gotta go get ready to go get my daughter so we can go to the dentist. We're gonna hold hands walking in there because I cannot stand dentists. I hate it. So if I fear anything in the world, it's dentists. I don't know why I just don't like fucking dentists. I don't. You can probably tell, like, that motherfucker don't go to no dentist. Cheers, guys. Shit, dabs up. Dabs up, babies. Shit. Thank you, Mr.SparkzAlot, for the chance, bro. Pork chops. I got a bill. You so silly, girl. Queen Die is so silly. Queen Die is hilarious. What am I gonna do with a fucking newspaper? She's so silly. Thank you again, Denise, for sharing. I don't know if you're still in here or not, but I appreciate that share. See, when you guys share, I get notifications that says that you shared my YouTube video while I was live, and it just makes me feel all great inside. I need to figure a way to rob Pork Chop of 1,000 subs. I can't believe you got almost 1,100 more followers on YouTube. On Instagram, Pork Chop. I'm gonna change my name to Smack a Pork Chop Fried Rice, aka Fortune Cookie Genetics, menu number 2. And then I'm gonna put like 6 million emojis behind it and see how many followers I can get. I'm just playing. I'm not in this for the followers. I'm in it for, oh shit, did I just see a toe? I just saw a toe. Wow. Nigga, you got the audacity to talk about my feet, boy. What the fuck is that gap? You need to go get some braces for your toes so them motherfuckers can stick together. Like, they stink, so your toes stink so much they don't even like sit next to each other. They like, get the fuck over there, basically. Come on, bruh. And who the fuck cut that toe, right? You see that toe right there? Boy, look, the pinky toe didn't even want to be in the picture. He didn't take a picture of his whole, he's got a big ass bunion on the right side of that toe right there. That's why he didn't take a photo. And is that hair? Boy, you need to shave your goddamn feet. Look at it. Sasquatch toe feet. Look at it. Pork Chop. Oh my goodness. Look at that toe. Look at that motherfucker. We about the same color though, Pork Chop. Let me see. Look, we about the same color. I'm just playing. 50 Shades Dark. Boy, stop. This nigga. I'm finna put this. This nigga. This nigga. Whoa! That's the SparkzAlot challenge, man. If you proud of your body, you proud of what you walking around in, the skin that you are in, take a picture of your big toe and tag me on Instagram, man. Alright? Alright. Maybe we'll do a random giveaway. I don't fucking know. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it'll just be for shits and giggles. But my foot is on, this is a pork chop old fucked up feet. I don't even know what's going on here. What? I mean, I done seen uglier feet, but you got some deep. Never mind. I ain't even gonna say nothing about your goddamn west side. Look, your feet from here, they look like, you know them little worms on Sesame Street? They used to walk around, you know, with the... Why that nigga shit look like the little worm on Sesame? Nigga shit look like a worm on Sesame Street, bruh. This boy crazy. Queen Di sent me $2 for some newspapers, guys. She said she want me to go get the papers. Size 13 shoe wearing ass. Your toe at 13, boy. That's what the fuck that is. Pork chop toe look like the dude shit on I'm gonna get you, sucker. What was that Jim Brown big old toe on I'm gonna get you, sucker? That shit was thumping. Just doo-doo. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real and it's been nice, and I thank you for everybody coming through. Michelle R, once again, thank you for the package. Kids, Leilani, y'all get in touch with me so we can get this out to you kids. I think email me. I don't know if I got your email. Hit me up on IG something. But yeah, let me get up out of here. Y'all go holler at Michelle R on Instagram. Go holler at her on the tubes, the YouTubes. It's Tuesday, T-Mobile Tuesday. Don't forget, if you got T-Mobile, check your T-Mobile app for all great discounts and gifts and shit. They give free tacos out every fucking Tuesday. It's Taco fucking Tuesday. Taco Bell. T-Mobile gives you a taco every fucking Tuesday. It's amazing. I don't go get them, but they're there. Like, whoa. I always use their gas discount and go get 10 cents off per gallon on my gas. It's Shell. So shout out to T-Mobile for all their goddamn discounts and shit. Appreciate that, man. T-Mobile Tuesdays. Don't forget, it's T-Mobile Tuesdays. You guys have a wonderful day. Hopefully you have the wonderful rest of the week. I'm going to the dentist, y'all. Pray for me. My daughter's going to get a cleaning, and I'm going to get a fucking, I don't even know, an assessment. He gonna give me a bill at the end, like, here you go. You want me to fix all that shit? I need a DNA sample of your left testicle, your right big toe, and the lung. And $1.4 million. And then we'll get you right. Miss Greenbody, I need to check your postage. I mean your tracking information, because I did send your package out and I don't know why you ain't got it yet. I'm thinking it's because of how I addressed it. The way you had me address it. But then again, who fucking knows? Maybe it got pulled by the custom agents or something. I don't fucking know where my shit's at. But I'll track it, and if I can't find out no information, hopefully, I don't remember what you won, but hopefully it's something that I still have, because if it was something that was like, I forget. I had to look at my book. But, yes, sir. Ow. My toe hurts. I was thinking for a second, because I did get a package returned, but your package is not the package that got returned. So, get back at me. Tracking says it's still in Vegas. Yeah. it's been a while since I sent that shit out. Let me check my everything on my end, and I'll get back in touch with you on the jizzle. On the jizzle. Jesus, man. Sparks, much love, bro. Main Green Girl, what's up? I won't touch it. Hit you on IG. Kid says K Sharks, Skarks. Michelle R says sounds good. Michelle R, thank you once again, mama. You and Energy over there doing y'all thing, holding it down. I got some F2 OG guap there, but I need to get y'all some F2s out pretty soon here. Yeah, I sorted all those beans out. Oh, motherfucking right. Anonymous. I don't know who an anonymous is, but that's see, anonymous. How in the fuck am I supposed to know who sent that? I'm just playing. I have an idea. Let me smack that through one more time. We're gonna knock some more points off. Oh, where's my Streamlabs? One more time. Anonymous just tipped 350. Can I smack that again right quick so we can you know we gotta double up everything. When people subscribe, we take double the points off the stream, boss. When we get donations, we take Sparks. I'm working on OG, double OG, and D tacos. Words. That's what's up, bro. Thanks for letting me know, bro. What do you mean I don't have any donations? Somebody just donated like a second ago. Here it is. Boom! One more time. Just mailed out 10 packages. Boom! Right. Anonymous donated the 350. Okie Homegrown says, sup y'all, damn half hour left. Says where I been. Ain't no half hour left. We finna get up out of here. Damn, I've been on for an hour and a half now. Yeah, I gotta go, because I said at an hour I was finna go. I gotta go get my little one from school so we can catch. I don't need to be late. Friday night at 8. Yeah, I don't need to be late. Y'all be good. I love y'all. Kids, I'll holler at you on IG. Leilana, congratulations. Leilani, congratulations. Thank you again, Michelle. I know I said that like 20 times, but I like to thank folks when they send me stuff, whether it's through a video or email or whatever. It's highly appreciated because I don't get gifts that often. I'm used to giving, just giving. So when I get gifts, it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck just happened here? I got something? What? Anyways, y'all be good out there. Don't forget, we're going to start 2020 is the year of the tuber in the secret garden over here. We're going to get Michelle's name in the hat, these genetics. Maybe we'll run them out next year. You guys are going to have to vote on that. But until we meet again, as always, light up, Toke Up, blaze up, smoke up. If you like your concentrates, get your dab on. If you like your edibles, get your snack on, man. It is I, SparkzAlot, a.k.a. Mr.SparkzAlot, a.k.a. Mr. Giveaways, a.k.a. I'm just playing. Y'all be good. Don't call me Mr. Motherfucking Giveaways, because that's not my damn name. Dutch. What up, Dutch? Came in here last minute. Shout out to all my last minute entries. Better late than motherfucking ever, man. Hit that thumbs up. I'll see y'all later. Shout out to Michelle, Energy. Y'all be good. Kids, congrats. Leilani, congrats. Everybody else that came up in this motherfucker, shout out to you. Queen Di, thanks again for the newspaper. And yeah, like ET says, y'all, be good.